Today, we're jumping into a story that's about way more than just new gadgets or faster computers. This is about power, about national security, and really about who gets to write the rules for the 21st century. We're talking about the AI hardware wars, a high-stakes chess match between the US and China to control the engine of our future.
And really, it all boils down to this one simple line from a few years back: no chip, no AI. It's so direct because it's true. Every mind-blowing AI you see, all the large language models, the self-driving cars, it's all built on a physical foundation of microelectronics. You take away the chips, and the entire AI revolution just stops. So you see, this isn't a battle over software or clever algorithms. We're talking about the new oil, the one resource that matters more than almost any other right now, the specialized computer chips that give AI its power, and the global fight to control that supply. Well, that's where the real game is being played.
Okay, so to really get why this has become such a massive deal, we need to talk about one core concept that drives everything. And that word is compute.
So what is compute? In the simplest terms, it's the raw, brute force processing power you need to build and train these gigantic AI models. Think of it like fuel for a rocket. Every huge leap forward we've seen in AI over the past decade, it's happened because we figured out how to throw more and more compute at the problem. And this chart, wow, it just shows you how insane the demand for compute has become. Since 2012, the amount of processing power used for the biggest AI projects has been doubling every 3.5 months. I mean, that's an exponential curve that makes the famous Moore's Law look like it's standing still. This relentless hunger for more power is exactly why the chips that provide it are now at the center of geopolitics.
All right, so the United States saw this trend and made a huge move on the chessboard. The goal was to protect its long-held tech advantage and, from its perspective, its national security. The U.S. strategy was basically a three-pronged technological blockade. First up, stop selling the most advanced AI chips to China. We're talking about the big guns, like NVIDIA's A100 and H100 GPUs. Second, block China from getting the super complex tools needed to make their own advanced chips. And third, use huge incentives, like the CHIPS Act, to bring that cutting-edge manufacturing back home to the U.S. And look, the reason for all this was crystal clear. The U.S. was watching China's policy of military-civil fusion, where any new tech from the commercial world gets funneled straight to the military, and saw it as a direct threat. These export controls were basically designed to hit the brakes on China's progress, to stop American tech from being used to create a military and geopolitical rival. So you'd think that's game over, right? Cut off from the world's best hardware, China's AI dreams are finished. But what happened next kind of shocked everybody. So the big question is, did this massive technological blockade actually achieve its goal? Well, the answer is a lot more complicated than a simple yes or no. This number pretty much says it all. As of early 2026, the performance gap between the absolute top-tier American AI models and the best ones coming out of China was just 2.7%. Think about that. Despite the blockade, they're right there, nipping at their heels. So how on earth did they do it? Well, they didn't just find a loophole. They fundamentally re-engineered their entire approach in a way the West just didn't see coming. And this quote from the CEO of DeepSeek, one of China's leading AI labs, just nails it. He's saying, look, we've got plenty of money and talent. Our problem isn't cash. It's that we can't buy the best shovels. And that hardware scarcity, it forced them to get creative. Instead of just trying to get more hardware, Chinese engineers got absolutely obsessed with efficiency. They took the older, less powerful chips, the stuff they still had access to, and went to work on the software. They figured out how to squeeze every single drop of performance out of the silicon they had. They turned a hardware disadvantage into a massive advantage in software and efficiency. And this wasn't just a clever hack. It was part of a much bigger national strategy, something people are now calling a sovereign AI stack. The goal is total self-reliance, to control every single layer of the technology, from designing the chip to building the AI model, all using your own domestic resources so that nobody can ever cut you off again. And to make this happen, China mobilized its own tech giants, companies like Huawei with its own line of Ascend AI chips, and the manufacturer SMIC, which somehow managed to produce 7-nanometer chips despite the sanctions. They became the pillars of this whole strategy for independence. So the end result of this whole chess game, America's big move and China's incredible counter, isn't a victory for one side.
What's happening is a fundamental split in the global AI landscape, a great decoupling of technology. What we're seeing now are two parallel AI ecosystems forming, each on their own track. On one side, you have the US-centric stack, models from places like OpenAI and Google, running on NVIDIA chips, which are made by global partners like TSMC in Taiwan. And on the other side, you have China's sovereign stack, models from DeepSeek and Baidu running on homegrown Huawei hardware, made by their own domestic chipmaker, SMIC. Now check this out, because this is where it gets wild. Look at the money. Last year, the US poured over $250 billion into AI. China, just over $12 billion. That is a staggering 20-to-1 investment gap, and that fact alone makes China's ability to stay so close in performance absolutely remarkable. It just screams capital efficiency. But while the US is winning the spending race, China is playing a totally different long game. This chart shows that China now holds almost 3/4 of all global AI patents. It's a clear strategy: build up this huge library of intellectual property to power their own ecosystem for decades to come. So after all is said and done, where do things stand? Who actually has the edge in this competition? Let's break it down. This little scorecard gives us a pretty clear picture. The US is definitely still the leader when it comes to having the absolute best, most powerful hardware, and just more total compute power overall. But China is now the clear winner in capital efficiency, doing more with less, and they're miles ahead on the path to hardware self-sufficiency. And as we just saw, they completely dominate in the volume of research, at least when you measure it by patents. So here's the main takeaway. This isn't a race with a single winner and a single finish line anymore. It's changed. It's now a long-term parallel competition with two powerful ecosystems running on different tracks, each with their own unique strengths. And that leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? We're not just watching a tech race anymore. We're witnessing the birth of two parallel technological futures. So the question isn't who's going to win. The real question is, which of these two very different futures is going to be the one that defines our world?